Team Gravity presents Fight Night.
Y'all ready for this?
Good afternoon or evening. I tried to combine the two because I do realize a lot of you guys are in a different part of the world. But hey, we are all here right now together to celebrate the real end of Heart of the Swarm, guys. It is Team Gravity Fight Night number 38. Number 38. Just let that sink in for a moment because that's 38 weeks in a row. Actually, I think we might have skipped one, but almost 38 weeks in a row where we have done Fight Night this entire year. 2015, and it has been one heck of a ride, and it's still going great because we have an amazing lineup for you guys today. 6 amazing players as always, headlined by none other than Parting versus Solar for the headliner match. That's going to be a best of 7 and something you guys no doubt are just going to be waiting for in anticipation. But before that, we still have two amazing preliminary matches as well. First off is going to be Hitman versus uThermal, a clash between the son of NA versus one of the top players of EU. And then we're also going to have Puck versus No Regret, so a couple of top NA players as well going at it. They also have really important clan wars going on too at the same time, so action-packed day for them as well as us viewers. So great games on the way. And hope you guys will stick around because you will be rewarded. Those of you guys who made it over here from my stream on Twitch, welcome. And you guys are in for a good one. So we're going to start off first with uThermal versus Hitman. That is going to be a best of 5 series. Both preliminary matches will be. The prize for winning them is $25. And let's see if Hitman or uThermal can go and try to claim that. First map is going to be on Terraform LE, folks. And because both these players are from different continents, Hitman from NA, uThermal from EU, we're going to be alternating between these two different servers just to provide for maximum fairness. We're going to start off on the NA server first. So as soon as both players are ready, we're going to get right into it. And actually, one thing I should talk about is an amazing thing about Fight Night, guys, is that you don't just sit there and watch. I mean, obviously you can chat too, but beyond these two very typical things, you can show some love for the players in a very direct fashion by contributing to the prize pool. How do you do that? There's a service we are affiliated with called Matcherino. And if you guys can head over to Matcherino, you can donate directly to the prize pool that is going to either of these players when they win. So, hey, it's not just straight up giving money to them. They got to earn it, too, by winning, right? And another cool thing about Matcherino as well is that you can actually have Matcherino donate on your behalf because they have a great promotion with us on Team Gravity. And I'll talk about that after we introduce the players. So we're going to hop right into game number 1 here, guys. First map, Terraform LE. Our first player is going to be spawning on the bottom right-hand side, and it is going to be the Purple Terran. Playing for AT Gaming, folks, this is uThermal. And on the opposite side of Terraform, it's going to be our green Protoss player on the upper left. Representing himself and only himself, he is teamless, lone wolf indeed. We have here Hitman. So back to what I was saying about Matcherino, you can go ahead and enter a coupon code there, which is a combination of the two players' names. Don't know it off the top of my head, but someone will provide it for you in chat. Thermal Hitman. There we go. So you can go ahead and type that into the chat, or you actually not in the chat, in Matcherino. When you submit that, Matcherino will donate money on your behalf to the prize pool for these players. So you don't even have to actually donate money if you don't want to, but of course, it is welcome if you choose to do so. And then you'll be able to directly show your support for these players should they win. All right, so this is a high-level matchup. Why do I say that? Because these two players are WCS Premier level players. Hitman, obviously, Huge hype behind this guy. We all know about his play style. Very aggressive on 2 bases a lot of times. He's capable of macroing out of it if necessary as well. So with his kind of style, it's definitely, put a lot of players on edge and made it all the way to WCS Premier as the NA hope. I mean, you have to show love for this guy, no question about it. And then uThermal, he's just surfaced to really the top ranks in EU in the last year. And, obviously for him, he wants to end this hype as soon as he can here in this best of 5. And so we'll see how he can do, particularly in this game 1 on the NA server. All right, so let's see what these guys are doing. In fact, we do have here a 1 base opener here from uThermal, interestingly. He decided to go right into Factory. No expansion, no Reaper. Going to go ahead and do the old-fashioned SCV scout. HOTS made Reaper scouting all the rage. Since we're going to move into another expansion, let's go even further backwards into Wings of Liberty and do a SCV scout. Of course, when you go with the early Factory, you have to use all of your gas on there. I'm not going to have a Reaper for scouting, so, all jokes aside, this is expected. Hitman is the one who's expanding, and he is going to be doing it with a Mothership Core as a part of the build. So the Mothership Core will deny the SCV from scouting further. Not too much for uThermal to see anyway, because he already scouted the Expo, so he kind of knows what's up. And he knows that the onus is on him on 1 base to make things happen. He has to justify, delaying his economy and delaying that Expo by doing some damage himself. So we'll see what he has planned. It looks like it's going to be a Widow Mine drop here as the Starport's finishing up. Some Widow Mines are already out for him. So indeed, that's going to kind of be his strategy here. Now, for Hitman, obviously getting detection is going to be key here. He hasn't elected to do that just yet. We're actually going to see a Twilight Council to follow the expansion. So that's going to be his first choice of tech. So if he doesn't decide to put down a Robo anytime soon, that could make things a little tricky for him, as he's going to have to micro his way around these Widow Mines. But we'll see. I mean, a big part of microing against Widow Mines is just how fast you can react. Because, I mean, no matter how powerful Widow Mines may be, they still require some time to burrow and or get into position. So if you pull your probes quickly, if you make sure you split off one to sacrifice it, you're going to do fine. But if you make a mistake, you're slow, you just don't get your units away the way you need to, obviously that's when disaster strikes. So let's see which it will be. uThermal right now sending in that first medevac here. He's going to land on the high ground right now, just in Hitman's vision. Photon Overcharge not activated just yet. Hitman a little slow in microwave. That Mothership Core will get away with it with just barely any health left. Stalker tries to run out of the main base. Immediately killed off by the Widow Mine. This Mothership Core needs to stay alive, and it dies. Hitman, big mistake there. Doesn't get off a single Photon Overcharge anywhere. Granted, these Marines shouldn't be able to do too much more damage, but, well, let's scratch that. Probes being pulled to micro against this, and that's some workers dead. These Stalkers are going to have to try to focus down the medevac. Will it be able to do so? Not quite. SCVs, or Marines, sorry, are unloaded in time. We have some probes pulled. I don't think any of these will die, so this is actually a good probe pool right there. Okay, all right. So I was like, okay, Hitman was, doing all right for the most part, and then that changed everything. And that's when the Widow Mines strike. They strike right when you think the battle's over and you just briefly forgot about it or just couldn't quite get to it in time. Bam. Chunk of workers killed. Let's take a look at the numbers here. 6 workers killed in total. So, it could have been a lot worse considering how much uThermal invested into that attack. After all, if we take a look at the worker counts right now, Hitman's actually leading by 10. So despite, the theatrics of that engagement, it's hard to say that was necessarily worth it for uThermal. That's a big reason why he's following up with another harassment here. He needs to continue to get damage in to justify opening 1 base. I mean, he is only getting his 2nd orbital command right now, guys. So we're going to have a 2nd burrow here. Hitman pulling. Oh, no, that was a massive hit. Massive hit by uThermal's Widow Mines. My goodness, let's take a look at that. 12 workers killed in total now. And yeah, that definitely makes things a lot more a lot more justifiable for uThermal here, getting this number of workers killed. He's going to have to defend here at the front now. Stalkers trying to deny that bunker. Will be able to kill it off, in fact, as it just completed. uThermal, if only he had canceled it. Now he's going to actually even have to evacuate into the main base. He doesn't have stim or medevacs here to allow these Marines a fighting chance against the Stalkers, and because of this, and these are Blink Stalkers, I might add, we're going to see workers being pulled here. So uThermal cut the worker lead to only, 6 or 7 for Hitman, but he lost another chunk there, and Hitman's starting to get some gains again when it comes to the worker count. And this counterattack may prove to be deadly for uThermal. Let's see. Stalkers are going to start moving their way up the ramp. Blink backs, of course, for the weak ones. Looks like uThermal with 2 medevacs on top is going to be able to hold here, at least this number of Stalkers. And one thing I might add, too, there's no stim. There is no stim right now for uThermal. He basically decided to go ahead and get Combat Shield as well as the Concussive Shell, but he's only starting stim now. I have to wonder if that was intentional or a mistake, because the tech labs weren't idle. They were researching things, but it was Combat Shield instead of stim and Concussive Shell, which is useful against Stalkers, so I can't really say that that was unintentional. So I don't know, but uThermal is not going to be able to easily chase after these Stalkers. And Hitman's, noticing there's no stim right now either. So, but he does flirt with death a little bit there, losing a couple of those Stalkers as uThermal tries to secure his natural and is able to do so. So, the battle is stopped for now. It's the calm before a storm of some kind. So, who is ahead, who's behind? Well, Hitman right now, 44 workers compared to 34 of uThermal. 10 seems like a lot, but mules do go a long way in mitigating that difference. Hitman up 80 supply to 73. May change if he loses a Stalker there. Doesn't. Able to blink away in time in that engagement. Now, as even as the supply may be, if this is just Stalkers for Hitman, that's not the greatest thing in the world. Oh my gosh, uThermal. Nice setup here. Love it. These Stalkers are just basically flanked here by this half drop from uThermal. Very nicely done. That leads to several Stalkers killed, and now uThermal is in position to counter. And Hitman, in the meantime, tried to take a third, leaves him a little behind now in the army count here as he sunk those minerals into a structure. So we're going to see now uThermal move his way into the natural. That was a fantastic flank, by the way, by uThermal. I don't have stim. I can't chase after your Stalkers, so hey, I'm going to give half of my army a head start, land on your flank, and then try to sandwich you. Worked out well. Now forcing the cancellation on the third base as well. uThermal is able to do some work here, and now he's going to try to push in the natural. A Colossus is out finally for Hitman. Exactly what he needs here, because Blink Stalkers were not going to cut it against this army here, especially if stim finishes, which it finally has. But the Colossus Micro is going to have to be on point here. You definitely don't want to lose that. That's your lifeline. Oh, uThermal getting a lot of his units trapped there by force fields, and now he has to stim to run away. So he overstayed his welcome a bit there, and now Hitman is the one who is starting to turn the tables a little bit here, pushing uThermal back. In the meantime, how has uThermal's macro been? Well, right now he's only on 84 supply. He's lost a lot of units for, in this retreat, and because of that, he's playing a little catch-up. He did kill off a couple more Stalkers there of Hitman, so he's doing what he needs to stay in this one. 14 minutes in the game right now. Hitman restarting his third base. uThermal not quite at the point where he can get his, and so he's going to stand two base a little bit here. It's going to enter at some point into an all-in mode, because right now he's added on a fourth and a fifth barracks. No third base in sight. He's going to try to go for a drop first, though. Not going to just be one giant attack. I guess he is going to go ahead and take a third command center. I mean, the interesting thing is he got the third and fourth barracks before going ahead and taking the third base. Usually you kind of take your third before that and then add your fourth and fifth afterwards. But I guess uThermal just wanted to get in some more production first. But if he is to get the two production structures beforehand and as well as that third CC, he absolutely needs to continue pressuring here. Make sure Hitman cannot just easily sit back and get the tech he wants. He's going to try to do that here with his first army up the natural. Right now, first pylon going to be taken out. Hitman's army is sitting back and waiting, so it can now go after this army. We have two separate armies here from Hitman. 3 Colossus over here on the bottom. Blink Stalkers on the top. That is enough to send uThermal running, as that is just one army he cannot engage. This is a very strong army force here from Protoss. I mean, 3, now 4 Colossus, no Vikings in sight. uThermal just not able to afford that right now. He's got a lot of things on his plate here, waiting on the 3rd, 5 barracks of production. So for him, the Vikings will have to come a bit later. He does have a lot of medevacs, I'll say that. So the key for him is just to continue trying to do multi-prong attacks. Because really, you want to go for that one big push against a Protoss ball, you got to go with Vikings. Otherwise, you're just going to have to divide and conquer. And that's uThermal's best bet, something he's going to try to do. Not trying to suggest that's going to be easy, but, you know, he's got to try it, right? So, well-placed observer will scout these 3 medevacs on the way. So, and of course, Hitman already had a bunch of stalkers positioned there, as we saw. So with that, he should be able to repel that attack. I'd like to have seen a 2-prong attack, though, actually, from uThermal here, as opposed to just one big Doom Drop. I mean, you go for the Doom Drop, and you're just hoping that Hitman has nothing there. But, I mean, in reality, you're playing a level... Both these players, really, they're at the level where they're not going to make those kinds of mistakes. They're going to have map vision at the necessary spots. So I don't really think that the Doom Drop was ever going to truly work out here, but we'll see what uThermal has in store. Otherwise, I do see 2 groups of purple moving around right now. 1 Doom Drop into the main base, going to go after Blink Stalkers. This is going to be pretty easy for the bio to take out. What about that second group of units we're seeing? Well, right now they're just in a holding pattern against a force that they just cannot hope to battle at all. These are going to basically be left for dead, but they keep the Colossus occupied, and in the main base, that Doom Drop is doing some good work. All the Stalkers have been taken out. A lot of tech here is vulnerable. We're going to see the Forges being focused down first here to make sure Hitman doesn't get a further lead in upgrades. Now he's going to try to take out the 1 Colossus that was just finished. Here are DTs as well, by the way. Hitman going for both kinds of Templar, and it looks like with some defensive warpins, Hitman's able to hold. So GG from uThermal. Didn't get the damage he needed done in the main base. And Hitman now is going to be up 1-0. Heck of a macro game there, guys, on Terraform LE. And while that Doom Drop looked like it could do so much, I think Hitman was just too far ahead in tech. I mean, he had both kinds of Templar, you know, the Twilight, not the Twilight Council, but, well, of course he had that, but the Templar Archives, the Dark Shrine, you know, he had a lot of Colossus. Because, you know, let's face it, I mean, you have 4 Colossus that were alive that uThermal saw all the way there in the center, and as soon as that drop was held, Hitman was just going to counter with everything and steamroll uThermal back at home. So we're going to move into game 2, and we're going to head to EU. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure I'm there so nobody's waiting on me. And we're going to see uThermal pick a map for himself. He's on home turf now, home field advantage, if you will. So, you know, ideally for him, might be more comfortable, less lag or whatever. We'll see if that plays a part in it. It may not. Otherwise, we could be in for some more good games, hopefully. By the way, guys, if you haven't done so already, actually, I need to join that channel as well because they're not going to be able to find me. And here I am. So yes, if you guys haven't already, you should head over to Match Arena, one of our partners here for Fight Night. Match Arena is a service that allows you to be able to support the players directly by donating to their prize pool. And you can donate your own money, of course. That is more than welcome. But you don't have to. Why? Because Match Arena has an amazing promotion this week where if you enter a coupon code, and what is it again? Thermal Hitman? That's what it is. Thermal Hitman. You enter that code, Match Arena will donate on your behalf. So really all it takes is just you to go to that site, type it in, you're done. Or copy paste. And you're going to be supporting the players directly and making sure they earn it too. It's not just a free lunch. They have to win, of course, to get the prize pool money. So definitely hit up Match Arena there. And yeah, if you guys are watching this on the Team Liquid stream, make sure you head over here to zuba.tv/teamgravity because, guys, this is where the party is, man. The chat's happening here, and you can talk about the games we're going to have. There are going to be some great games. We already had one of them, but best of 5 for this series. Puck No Regret to follow. And then, of course, Tasia and Solar. And I don't need to hype that up too much. You guys know who those players are. Did I say Tasia again? I keep saying Tasia. I don't know why. I meant to say Parting. I'm sorry about that. Wait, it is Tasia? Tasia Solar, not Parting. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I've been saying Parting for quite a while now, too. You guys got to cut me some slack. I drove several hours this morning. I've been casting for the last 5 in the Dust League Season 1. I'm sorry. It's supposed to be Tasia versus Solar. So, yeah, that Dust League. Unfortunate ending for Team Gravity. Obviously, I'm on Team Gravity, so I kind of want to see my guys do well. But all killed by Dust in the round of 8. So I don't know what's happening there right now, but Dust was looking pretty strong there, I'll tell you that. They have some good Korean players. And I know some of you guys were there watching, so hopefully you enjoyed that. But we're going to have some more games coming up. We're setting up game 2 right now between Hitman and uThermal. I got to drill this into my head. Tasia Solar. Tasia Solar. Tasia Solar. I just got to say this like 20 times. I won't make that mistake again. Oh, man. Anyways, I promised you guys I'd show you some of the stuff I got at BlizzCon, and we're still waiting on the players to come. So, let me see. Well, first thing I got was this this Hearthstone massive shopping bag. I don't know if I'm gonna use this ever. If you, I didn't buy it. So if you bought $100 worth of stuff at the BlizzCon store, they gave this to you for free. And I don't know about where you guys live and stuff, but in California, they're trying to do a statewide ban on plastic grocery bags for environmental reasons. And so these reusable bags are all the rage now. But this is way too big to be taken into a grocery store. At the very least, people are just gonna think, "What the hell? What is this like massive elf-looking thing on this guy's giant shopping bag?" I probably won't be using this, but hey, it's free, so I can't complain. Oh, this is another thing. I got this shirt. This is a BlizzCon Linkin Park shirt. So, as you guys may know, Linkin Park performed at BlizzCon last night. It was pretty cool. I was actually kind of shocked they didn't play a couple of their biggest songs, but they also have a big catalog. So, you know, you can't cover everything, right? So otherwise, it was an awesome event, and yeah, this shirt, pretty cool shirt. I got another one as a gift too for somebody. Check this out, StarCraft 2 cap. This is actually a gift. I'm not going to wear it myself, but this cap's actually kind of nice. So, yeah. It's a flat build cap, adjustable in the back, so it's not fitted. And 15% wool, 85% acrylic, made in China. So, for whatever it's worth. So, yeah, I like the colorway on this, black and blue. Not bad. Almost want to keep it for myself. Then we also have this. This is a BlizzCon exclusive, by the way. You can't find this anywhere else. What's going on with the lobby right now? Okay. Our observer Doc has been working really hard behind the scenes to try to arrange this, and he's running into some issues trying to relog. But that's okay, because I got some more swag to show you guys. So it came with this drawstring bag, StarCraft 2 Protoss, adopt them all, gear.blizzard.com. I don't know if I'm going to adopt them all, but I used to main Protoss. I guess I can say I main Protoss and Terran, so I'm cool with this. And it's a probe plushie. So yeah, gonna be mining some minerals with this guy, and I think it also makes noises and stuff too. I don't know how it works though. I think you like squeeze it or something. I gotta read the instructions for this thing, but it's supposed to make, maybe it's like the probe sound or something. I don't know yet. Batteries not included, so I gotta put batteries in here. So I don't know. New lobby, so I gotta go ahead and get into that. All right, so yeah, this little guy here needs batteries apparently. Maybe next Fight Night. Fight Night 39, I'll show you guys this in action. So I just need that lobby invite, and then I'll be hopping into that. Get game 2 started. And then I have the goodie bag. I haven't even showed you guys that yet, but I think we're gonna head into game 2 very shortly now, so we'll do it after this game. There's something else in here. Oh, batteries are included. Well, the tag on the plushie says batteries not included. I mean, they decided to do it anyway, so thank you, Blizzard. This thing was expensive too, so as far as I'm concerned, those should have been rechargeable batteries. All right, game 2, we're gonna hop right in there. Coda LE is gonna be the venue of choice by uThermal, and this is the European Coda, if there's such a thing. So let's go ahead and talk about the players involved. We do have here the green Protoss player spawning on the upper left-hand side, representing himself and only himself. It is the NA God, Hitman. And on the other side of the world, red Terran on the bottom right-hand side, down 0-1 momentarily. Going to look to try to tie things up here on home turf. For AT Gaming, it is uThermal. Oh, that's funny. That's funny, Martin. Made in China like you, Droopy. Actually, here's the thing. I actually have a saying specifically for that. My parts are from China, but I was assembled in the U.S. Ah, you like that? You got to like that one. All right, so we're going to have a little chrono action here at 11 supply. Nothing new with that. Actually, 12 supply. Got to wait for that pylon to finish. And then the gateway is going to follow right after. Man, I have to say, all these things I'm talking about right now, like all these numbers I'm throwing out there, like chrono at 12 supply. You know, something even as mundane as that is not going to be said again in Legacy of the Void, because we're going to have such massive changes. We're going to have start off with, 12 probes, and immediately you're going to start building buildings right at right when the clock starts running, and that's going to be a big change. So everything that's being said here, it's going to be the last time I'm going to say it. It's kind of crazy. No doubt, Legacy coming out on the 10th. Everyone's going to move on to that. I'm sure you guys may have it pre-ordered. I have it pre-ordered, so it's going to be good. Double gas before Cyber, while the second pylon's in production. Now, we see this, we think one base. Automatically one base is the thought process here. Hitman, he didn't proxy that second pylon, but that said, he's still going into some kind of tech. There's no question about it. Right now, though, SCV is more concerned about proxy cheese, and that actually isn't the case here. uThermal just scouting his second and his third base locations. Now he's going to just go ahead with the Reaper, and actually, I guess Hitman is going to expand, interestingly enough. So I guess he goes ahead and takes that expo. I guess one thing is, he may not be saturating those assimilators fully. Yeah, that's why. He's only got 2 on each of them. So, if he's not fully saturating them, then it's not going to be a one base tier 2 kind of all in. So he built those 2 just to get that extra gas going, but he wasn't fully just mining those and sacrificing minerals. It is a mothership core expand. That Reaper is going to be sent backwards, going back into the natural there, and limited scouting there. But again, when you see the expo from Protoss at this time, you're not really too worried about scouting like every single nook and cranny of the main base as much as you would like. But it's not going to be an all-in, so you can kind of breathe a little bit if you're uThermal. So Reaper comes back, denied again by the mothership core. In the meantime, for uThermal, it's a Reaper expand, of course. The expand is on its way. We do have a couple Marines being pumped out on the reactor mounted barracks. Factory on the way as well. So, following this Reaper expand, we're probably going to see a Widow Mine drop. Essentially because he's moving into tier 2 already. I mean, a Terran player could have gone into 3 racks afterwards, but it's not his choice. So Reaper just briefly accosted there by the Stalker. Going to meet it again, and it won't get away. It will not. uThermal was actually content to just sacrifice and knew it was going to die, so he's like, I'm just going to have it run in a circle. And I'll get the last laugh. That's what he's thinking. Starport on the way as well. So let's see if it is Widow Mines coming out of the factory. I don't see it, actually. It might just be a Marine drop or just a Marine-based attack. Either way, there's a drop component involved. Actually, there is a Widow Mine that's already out. Second one on its way after the supply block. The brief one is, extinguished. And yeah, it's going to be a Widow Mine drop follow-up here for uThermal. Very standard stuff coming out of him. Hitman, though, going to move right into Blink here. So the Blink just most likely going to serve as, a way for Hitman to get out, 5-6 Stalkers, do a little bit of map control, trying to contain uThermal. Obviously, it's going to have to come after uThermal's attack here because he's starting to make his way over with the group of Marines and Widow Mines. But when the Blink finishes, he's going to have a little more mobility to defend himself if and when this, attack comes. Actually, just see it's Marines walking across right now. The drop is actually coming right here. So it's a two-prong attack, it looks like. Widow Mines will probably drop in the back of the natural, and the Marines will serve as a decoy up front to set off the photon overcharge, maybe. It's possible the drop may just fly right past that natural into the main as well. So we'll just have to see what decision uThermal makes there. But the Blink is about to finish and at a good time. Observer, though, is actually going to be a little bit further out. And probes being pulled by Hitman very quickly. We see 2 sacrifice, so the probes can get back to work. And Hitman is, safe to say, dealing with these a lot better than he did in game number 1 thus far. And here comes the detection. Widow Mine drop is officially over. So uThermal is now going to retreat with everything, and he might have to play a little bit defensively here. Just a small group of Stalkers going to push out as that map control force I was talking about. And yeah, Hitman is requesting a PP here. Not sure what the issue is. All right. So yeah, 6 Stalker contingent with Blink. Gonna walk right past the tower and let the Marine stay, interestingly. And the Marine comes and follows them like, hey, where do you guys think you're going? Like 6 Stalkers like trying to go after them. So yeah, the Marine's gonna die there. And that was a weird Blink back by Hitman, but he's not gonna try to go after this bunker. This kind of a push, no one really expects too much to be done, although it looks like the bunker may be taken out. No, actually repaired in the nick of time. Hitman didn't try to kill it off. But you don't expect this to do too much damage. This is more just a little bit of harassment. But this is suddenly a larger Stalker force now, so Hitman may actually look to try to blink into the main potentially. No, he doesn't have his observer here, so he's going to try the natural again. I think he wants to fake blinking into the main so that, as you can see here, it's a much more empty natural entrance, and the bunker does die. So no chance for salvage there. Stalkers will blink away. So just a little harassment containing uThermal. Because we are getting into the mid-game soon, and that's going to be time where uThermal starts sending out drops and things like that. He's not quite in position to do that just yet, and he still has to defend home. Stalkers in the main base. Kiting. 1 Stalker goes down. So uThermal's been able to kill a couple of Stalkers. 2 or 3, I believe. Or just 1, actually, now that I look at units lost. Only 1 Stalker killed so far, so good micro by Hitman as he continues with this, harassment. Now there's the second one killed. And, of course, throughout all of this back at home, Hitman is going to be macroing. Third Nexus on the way. We have +1 attack and armor. Colossus as well is being produced, as well as Thermal Lance. So that's kind of the whole idea. You just harass the Terran over and over again, buy time for yourself to expand, to tech and whatever, so that uThermal isn't, trying to punish you for all these things you're trying to do as far as macro. But now uThermal is looking to do just that. He is starting to push here. Just, 1 medevacs group of units. The rest are lagging behind. With the Colossus out now for Hitman, he'll be in a decent position here to defend, at least from 1 big attack up the front. As far as multi-prong attacks, that can make things difficult for him. So we'll see if uThermal explores that possibility. Looks like he's going to try to send this group into the third base. Not going to really be able to do anything there as Hitman's army is sitting there ready. Hitman's just going to try to guard this choke here, essentially. Just kind of sit in between these two ramps and just walk his units to wherever they need to be. So the thing here is, you know, if uThermal has enough quantity, which he may, depending on, you know, positioning and whatnot, attack with one big army. Dropping into the main was a possibility as well. Let's see if this is the right choice for him. Oh, this Colossus is on an island a bit. But with that time warp, very well placed time warp, actually. I'll talk about that because that needs to be mentioned a little bit more as these two Colossi are wiping out a lot of these frontline units here for uThermal. And, well, he does take out a Colossus, but his army ends up getting taken out as well. And Hitman's the one sitting up on supply here, 89 to 79. And while he's not necessarily in a position to counter and do any amazing damage here because eventually uThermal, with Defender's advantage, will be able to repel it, to be ahead on supply as Protoss in the mid game against Terran, that's uncharted waters in the sense that that almost is never the case. And it's a great thing for Hitman here. And I love that time warp. That time warp there, you know, Hitman realizing for a second that Colossus was isolated. Obviously, in that scenario, as Terran, like, oh, I'm going to stim through and just kill it, right? But that time warp put down there basically says, try walking through this, see what happens. And then had he done that, the Colossus would kite the bio units easily, and he would have lost everything uThermal, and with little to nothing in return. So that was a great clutch time warp there from Hitman. And now we're going to see Zealot chasing a Marine in vain. We'll get taken out by these stalkers. So yes, Hitman has been mining as Sir for quite some time now. uThermal just starting to transfer some SCVs over here to his third. The mining has been better for Hitman thus far. I'd have to say he got his third a little sooner, but uThermal is catching up now. Let's not forget, too, he does have 3 bases worth of mules at his disposal. So no doubt in my mind there, he's just going to, you know, try to take advantage of that and, you know, catch back up as far as supply. He's doing an all right job of that, 131 and 134. Worker counts are basically the same, negligible difference. uThermal's probably mining even more on income now thanks to the mills, and he is, at least minerals-wise. And now he's going to look to push again. I still have yet to see him attempt a drop. He's been mostly going through the ground, you know, with multi-prong attacks, sure. I mean, there's one on the right and the left of the third, but no drops just yet. So we'll see if he can make this attack work. Draws the army of Hitman outside with the first army. Second army tries to move into the third, but Hitman, too smart for that one. Looking at your main army, like, that's not a huge army, so the rest of it is probably trying to pull a fast one. Let's not forget, too, if drops were to come in on that left side, Hitman's going to have detection, or not, well, detection, yes, but also just the scout, period, with that observer. So, oh, this Mothership Core kind of derped its way outside, drops the time warp. Hitman thinking, I can catch those units before they get out of it. Not quite. So he has to back off before he loses too much there. Zealot legs about to finish up here. So we see a pretty Zealot heavy army here from Hitman. A lot of the gas has been expended on double upgrades on those forges and, you know, the Twilight upgrades, of course. So Zealot heavy army, finally charge activates, and now Hitman is going to move his way out here. We see uThermal splitting his army, trying his best here to avoid the area of effect damage from the Colossi raised, but there's just too many Colossi. And again, we're seeing a very low Viking unit composition from uThermal. It appears that he, you know, cares more about getting out more medevacs as opposed to Vikings. But when a Terran plays that style, you'd think that if they're prioritizing medevacs, it's because they want to drop more. They want to go through the air in their mid-game harassment. But that has been far from the case for uThermal. And because of that, we're seeing no Vikings, and the Colossi are just allowed to roam free here for Hitman. And the Colossus count is getting to an almost unmanageable point now. He's on 5 now, just finished up. Remains to be seen if he's going to add more or just try to move right into Templar tech, or I guess focus more on it. And looks like he is. I mean, we're seeing Archons being thrown in the mix. Don't see Storm being researched just yet. It's not done either, so he hasn't started it. But Archons are going to add that frontline tanking ability as well as area effect damage as well. And with 2-2 upgrades here for Hitman versus the 1-1 of uThermal, This is, I mean, the supplies are kind of close, but quantity may be the same. Quality most certainly isn't. uThermal is going to just try to avoid this Protoss army altogether. He has to. There's no way he can take this on in one fight. In fact, we're going to see double Doom drops here for uThermal. This is basically all his army in 2 drops. Here it is. First attack here in the main base. What is Hitman going to do? Is he going to go home? Does he even have a mothership with his army? He does. Recall back into the main base. Nexus is taken out, though. That's pretty big, and now the 3rd base is in danger, too. This is kind of a Protoss's worst nightmare. I have an amazing Protoss death ball, and I'm going to roll your army if I face off against it. Instead, I have to come home and defend 2 Nexi in vain. Both are taken out in these 2 Doom drops here by uThermal. Such a good decision here for the Terran. There's no question about it. Hitman was literally at his doorstep with an army that he could not possibly have hoped to take out. So he forces Hitman to go all the way back home. He dual drops Hitman on 2 different bases, takes them both out. Fantastic. But now, can he defend the counterattack? That is the question here. Widowmine goes down. We're going to see essentially Hitman stomp his way through, and how long can he continue stomping is going to be the question. 3rd base being evacuated right now. We have 3 production structures here that are probably going to be left for dead here as uThermal is going to come back from behind. Oh, force fields will keep that from happening. Hitman making sure he can shut down this base. He will have a recall at his disposal if necessary, but so far that doesn't seem to be the case. Archons briefly think about crushing their own force fields, but they expire on their own anyway. And now we're going to see Hitman. He's kind of waffling in between moving on from the 3rd base, but he's going to recall because he knows that uThermal isn't trying to defend him. Counterattack? Yes. So Hitman recalls back into that 4th base. Now he's going to engage. This is a big engage. Good EMP from uThermal lands on all the frontline units. And this is actually a lot of bio here, guys. This is not an easy fight for Hitman to have, but the one thing he has going for him is upgrades, and this advantage is really showing its colors here right now. 3 Colossus on top, 2 Vikings, not enough. Hitman gets the victory. GG from uThermal. Wow, what a game, what a game. And, you know, uThermal's macro fell behind there. Really, truly did. He started his 2-2 so late. So late. The armory was behind. And because of that, you know, we saw Hitman with a big upgrade, or a big upgrade advantage. The thing, too, is in that last battle, if the upgrades were the same, I won't say that necessarily uThermal would have won it, but they may have just evenly traded. And, you know, there's that EMP that landed squarely on the face of Hitman. And, you know, Hitman was short on Colossus there. He lost a couple of them earlier, so he's down to just 2. And really, uThermal could have managed that fight. He actually had a big bio ball there. But the upgrades and really his interest in going more medevac heavy, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I've seen a lot of players do this. He's not the only one where they just kind of focus more on going medevacs instead of Vikings. But it didn't work out in that game. I can tell you that for sure. Anyways, we do have Hitman up 2-0 right now. We're going to go back to NA. And game 3 should be coming shortly, as we're probably going to have the players figure out what map they're going to play on. So, more goodies to show you. So those things I showed you earlier were the things I bought from BlizzCon, from the store. In retrospect, I think the whole exercise was kind of silly because just about everything I showed you, you could purchase online. The only thing, actually, I don't know if you can get this shirt because this is like a BlizzCon related shirt, so maybe this is exclusive. I don't know, but the probe for sure isn't exclusive, so I guess that was something, you know, to line up for. But you know, I was like specifically asking, like I was with Fear Dragon in line. I was with Fear Dragon. I was waiting with Fear Dragon and Zombie Grub in line for 2 hours. It was ridiculous. And I was specifically asking them, like, you guys know which things are exclusive? Because if I'm just here to buy all the things that y'all can buy online, like, You guys are lovely people. It's great to hang out with you for 2 hours, but we could have done this like at an event too. So, basically, if you're gonna wait in line for that Blizzard store, you had to get at least something that was exclusive. And I'm glad I got that probe. And yeah, maybe we should make that a second caster. I don't know, Techno. I mean, I am a little lonely here. Everybody's still out of town and stuff like that. But anyways, this is the free goodie bag that they gave us, which I might sell. So if anybody's interested in the chat out there, hit me up. I know, right? Is this guy serious? He's like trying to advertise here on a fight night. Yes, I am. We have sponsors that I advertise for, so why not me, right? Gotta help myself out here. This is a BlizzCon Messenger laptop bag. I actually kept this in this. Where is it? I kept this in the protective bag until just now to show you guys. So it's clean. I never wore it around the convention center or anything. I always kept this in the bag because I had my own bag. So anyways, we also have a lot of stuff in here. So this is an inflatable side blade. Hopefully I didn't miss the mic there for a bit. Inflatable side blade, so you can like hold this like the Zealot, weapon and just pretend to kill people with it. Oh, we're hopping in the next game, so I'll show you the rest of the stuff later. All right, game number 3. All right, here we go. Game 3, Hitman leading 2-0, and we are looking at the guy that is not on the right side of that number. This is the purple Terran spawning on the upper right-hand side for AT Gaming. It is uThermal. And against him is the guy that's enjoying a nice lead right now, looking to extend it. Green Protoss, bottom left, teamless. It is Hitman. So, Hitman has been teamless for a very long time now. He was teamless all throughout that, WCS Premier run. And knowing how, the foreigner scene is as far as NA in particular, but even EU teams as well, I am sure teams have been hitting this guy up to join. I know that for a fact. Because the second he got Premier, like every team's probably like, oh, you want to join our team? You want to join our team? We'll pay you this, we'll pay you that. And Hitman, I would assume, has declined everything. So I don't know, maybe for him, whether or not it's like an issue of commitment, maybe he has too many things going on IRL that he can't really commit to team, sort of the demands of being on a team, or maybe he just likes to go solo. I don't know. But either way, he has been just doing his thing, and the Reddit world is loving it. Right now, probe being sent out here for a scout. uThermal game 1 went 1 base. Second game decided to play more conventionally with a Reaper Expand. So far, just opening up with, 12-12. So 12 barracks, 12 gas. And it's going to be a Marine, though, actually. Marine's going to be the first unit out, not a Reaper. So this is going to be, oh, there we go. There's that second pylon, guys. So I've been waiting for that one here from Hitman. And it's game 3, You got to expect anything by game 3 because you've seen 2 strategies already from your opponent. So if you hadn't seen cheese or all-ins yet, game 3 is kind of the one you need to open your eyes for. Second barracks from uThermal. Interesting. There's gas being mined. It was used on a reactor, and there's a second barracks. So I'm very curious to see what's going to happen here. Dueling all-ins, dueling aggression early game. We all know from Hitman what the deal is. Proxy Stargate. That's as plain as day, and it's going to make its appearance at around the 5:20, 5:30 mark. That much is obvious. For uThermal, what is that one option? You shake the magic 8-ball, and like one of them is like your future's cloudy or something along those lines. That's kind of what uThermal is, because he's got 2 racks. He's getting a tech lab on the second one, and he's proxying a factory. This is a really interesting kind of opener here from him. you know, at home, maybe he's going to make these bio units for defense, you know, just to hold off against, you know, something like a proxy Oracle. And then once that gets dealt with, he'll push out and then join up with the proxy Widow Mines he's trying to make. Yeah, it looks like he's not going to proxy a Stargate or Starport, so I guess it would be Widow Mine at some point. For now, though, it's just going to be bio here in the main base. Oracle's now out. And, oh, man, the Stalkers actually drew out all these Marines. But the Oracle's going to go after the Marines, though, not go into the mineral line. Not sure why not. This Oracle is actually in really low health, too. You know, Hitman thought he could take on that army with the Oracle on top of the Marines. But now with this Oracle in such low health, his ability to go ahead and harass the mineral line is going to be very, you know, just not as good. Not as good. And really, that mineral line was so vulnerable. I mean, I thought Hitman's strategy was to use the Stalker to lure everything out, which is exactly what happened. And then the Oracle will just go ahead around the back and really just snipe every SCV in sight. But that didn't happen, and now we're going to see probes being killed instead. Fantastic Widow Mine hit there. Absolutely amazing. 6 workers killed. Every single time uThermal gets away with a Widow Mine, he's going to get 6 workers killed. That's like the exact number. I can't tell you how many times when I play with Widow Mines, they get like 5 probes in red health. And then no kills or something stupid along those lines. But uThermal is making the most of his harassments here. Oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Proxy Fleet Bacon. I know it's Beacon. Proxy Fleet Beacon. It's going to be a Tempest, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a Tempest attack here on one base, and the Proxy Widow Mining is still going on. This is a funky game, guys. There's no question about it. And now the Tempest is out here. Second Widow Mine gets in a great shot. Hitman is really taking some, you know, damage here from these Widow Mines. And that third one is about to unload, too. How many did that take out? Oh, my. 17 workers killed by uThermal. I think Hitman is just trying a little too hard with this this Tempest here because he's letting a lot of things die back at home needlessly. And uThermal is just continuously making these Widow Mines with that proxy factory. So let's see how this Tempest can do. Oh my god, it's losing health. Hitman's not paying attention. Those Marines were still in range to deal with it. So this is not working out so well for Hitman right now. I mean, I appreciate the attempt at cheesing, but this is not working out. The thing is, he had to bring the Oracle home to try to, you know, obviously detect the Widow Mines that completely ravaged his mining. The Oracle is supposed to be with the Tempest, providing envision on the base so the Tempest can utilize the full range. That couldn't happen, and yeah, GG. So that just fell apart for him, man. You know, he tried to cheese and just didn't work out. Ironic, right? Hitman, the guy known for aggression, all-inning, cheesing, and all that, messes up on the cheese, but in the 2 macro games, just completely stomped uThermal. So, I don't know. That's StarCraft for you. Any game can go anyway. So, back to EU we go. Score is going to be 2-1 for Hitman. And just like that, it's a series again. You never know on Fight Night. Just because the guy goes up 2-0 doesn't mean he's going to run the table and all kill. That's not how it works here. How it works is uThermal is going to make this go to a game 5. Judging by experience. But we'll see if Hitman has something to say about it. He's going to have to do it on EU. So we'll find out what map he does. But yeah, I mean, the Oracle out of position, not helping out the Tempest. Rest is history. All right, back to this stuff. Okay, so inflatable side blade. Showed you that. We have a Diablo keychain. So I think this is Diablo, but it's like a cartoon version of it. I don't know how well you guys can see it here. Starting to get a little darker here. I might have to adjust my webcam a bit. Yeah, I'll adjust it a little bit. But this is the Diablo keychain. It's a cartoon version of him. And then we have a collectible pin from Blizzard. I don't know what this is, actually. I don't know what this is. Oh, this is Demon Hunter. Probably Illidan. Looks like Illidan. So this is a Warcraft thing. I'm not really a pin guy, so that might be something for someone who buys this. This is a Hearthstone luggage tag. It's actually kind of thick, pretty good quality, I think. So yeah, you just attach it to your luggage, has your name on it. Is there a space for battle tag? There isn't. That's funny, because that would be appropriate, right? On your luggage, you want to make sure, you know, the luggage handlers know your battle tag on StarCraft. All right, we're hopping into game number 4, and Hitman running into a little bit of trouble, probably lag. He had to set. Oh yeah, that's right. He had to, you know, adjust his settings too in game 2, probably because he doesn't play on EU very often or whatever. So,
Game resumed.
wow. Okay. Well, zesty bean and cheese dip. He had to say he had to type zesty too. Like he couldn't. He did. It wasn't just like, oh, you know, I got like chips and dip. He's like super specific and detailed. Like it's bean and cheese dip and the zesty variant of it. Thank you, man. Thank you for that that information. All right, so Iron Fortress LE game 4, and players are in cross position. Let's check out where they are. Red Terran spawn on the upper right hand side. uThermal guys for AT Gaming, and on the bottom left is going to be our green Protoss player. Lead is cut to 2-1 now. So can he get back on track here? The teamless Hitman. So I don't know when he started eating the zesty bean and cheese dip. If he was eating it last game and he got it all over his fingers, that might explain what happened with his his proxy Stargate. I really felt like there's a missed opportunity there. If that Oracle had just snuck in behind the mineral line when all those units were out of position, but I think maybe Hitman, I don't know. I don't know why he didn't do that. He must have thought that, you know, the Oracle is going to be able to take out all those Marines, but there's still those Marauders as well. Like the Stalker wasn't going to be able to handle them, and we all know Oracles don't do as well against Marauders. So I don't know. And then when you see that many Marine and Marauder on the low ground, you're not worried about a Widow Mine that's also ready for you in the main base, or even a missile turret, because clearly, you know, uThermal had invested a lot into that early game bio. So I don't know particularly why he decided to go for that, but in either case, it's all history now as we're in game 4. So Hitman's going to do some scouting here, sending the probe around in a clockwise, you know, path, I guess. And, you know, going to find essentially uThermal on his second attempt. Or he's in proxy. So his first proxy didn't quite work out so well for him. So, hey, let's try again on a map that you won't expect it as much on. And so let's see what he proxies here. Is it going to be a production structure, or is it going to be tech? I'm going to guess it's tech, because if uThermal is spawning on the lower right-hand side, this would not do him any favors. This is actually even farther away than if he had just built in his own base. So yeah, it's going to be a Twilight Council. So he's just hiding his tech so that uThermal obviously is none the wiser if and when he scouts. Is he going to scout up top here and with the... Nope, he will not. Reaper just wanted to see where the base was, not if there are random buildings in the corners of every platform. So uThermal expanding on the low ground. It is a Reaper Expo for him. So back to the standard expand play from uThermal. Previous 3 games, 2 out of 3 of them, uThermal was on one base. But on a map like Iron Fortress LE, he does a sensible thing of just going ahead with the early expansion. Stalker's out here for Hitman. The Reaper does confirm the location of Hitman, but didn't really stay very long to try to harass or anything. Let's see if he went in deep enough. I have to double check this. So the Reaper went in, saw 1 gas and not much more. Didn't see any pylons, but they could just be in the back. So uThermal doesn't really know what's going on just yet. He needs to go back and see. And failing that, a scan. Because otherwise, he's not going to realize that this is... Okay, he now knows it's a 1-base play. It's 530, no expansion. But even then, like, he doesn't know it's mass, you know, multiple gas mine, no tech in the main base. Because sometimes, you know, scouting is about trying to find out what you don't see as much as it is, what you see, right? So if he doesn't see tier 2 tech in there, then he's going to have to keep his eyes open for proxies and stuff like that. And right now it's going to be a proxy DT Shrine. It's just about ready to finish up. Hitman's going to have a proxy pylon ready right above that natural uThermal. So it's going to be, some sneaky DT stuff here as Hitman is preparing his follow-up with the Nexus expansion. So he's going to move his way into this mineral line. No tech whatsoever. Double gas, fully saturated, a lot mined, right? So now he can confirm his DT. DT's right now in his natural, forcing everything away. And those DTs are just trying to avoid the scan as much as they can here. Marines are going to be able to focus them down. Just enough scans here for uThermal, able to make sure he saves his base. There's another DT now, and there may not be a scan for a bit, but there is a missile turret that just finished, and Hitman won't be able to get anything done with that. So Hitman going to have to back off now. So I have to say uThermal really minimized the damage done there. There's another DT on its way. Hitman's just like, okay, you used a lot of scans already, so there's just no way you stop another one, right? And for now, he would be. Although there is energy now on that main base, so uThermal gonna have to be careful here. DT should make it out alive. Oh, man, that was a clutch raise on that depot. If it wasn't for that, Hitman would have escaped. So uThermal able to get that up to serve as a bit of a roadblock. Very nice. But now another missile turret is done here in the main base. The DT has to stay away from that. Maybe go around the south side and see if he can snipe, say, for instance, his tech lab. That'd be kind of cool. Or just hide. Or just try to go to the mineral line. A lot of options, obviously. Natural. There's a missile turret that was just canceled. So Hitman's continuing to do work, and oh man, Widow Mines again. Widow Mines again. Those have really hurt Hitman this entire series. In game 2 he was able to defend against these well, but in games 1, 3, and 4 now, they've just been putting on the hurt. And I don't know if his internal clock is ticking here in the main base. It is. Wow. That is the most fortunate ending for a Widow Mine shot I've ever seen. It just goes into the simulator and disappears, and nothing gets hurt. That's great. I like that. So one moral victory there for Hitman, because overall he did lose 9 workers in total, getting 6 of his own from uThermal. Internal clock has to tick again for the main base. Widow Mine doesn't unload. It did get 1 probe kill, I believe. 6 in total. So Hitman trading away workers just like uThermal has been. So they're pretty close right now, 36 to 35. Both are on 2 base now. uThermal did take his a lot sooner, but of course with all the harassment from Hitman, he's been able to get his own. That Widow Mine is ready to load or launch again, but it does get taken out. So I will say this, economy's similar, armies not so much. 30 army supply from uThermal making its way down, and Hitman is stuck on 17. That is a pretty big difference. Not to mention, we're looking at gateway units versus bio units. That typically doesn't bode well for the Protoss player. But to be fair, these are all Marines, which are manageable for Stalkers with Blink. But the Blink is only halfway done here, so wow. Well, it doesn't matter if you're going to have a PDD to absorb all the Stalker shots. So uThermal is good here for a little bit here, as the Stalkers are able to finally get some shots in as they shoot away from the PDD. And we're going to see now these Stalkers go after the Marines. Ooh, that evac is going to get taken out. It will. Yep. That decision to double back. Oh, man. Hitman just poking everything out of the sky. Raven goes down as well. So he's able to hold there, minimize the damage done. I mean, really, more damage was done by the Widow Mines than that entire engagement. There's no question about that. So relatively even on workers again. uThermal a little ahead, which is actually good for him because he has the benefit of mules to, increase that mining lead further. And he is momentarily a little ahead on supply, not a huge amount. And, of course, he's moving around the bio. He's, again, +1 attack. We got concussive shell, shield. He actually decided to prioritize shield again instead of stim pack. So I almost think he did that purposely in game number 1 now. But nonetheless, it's neither are done yet. So he's going to have to play defensively here with just regular OG Marines. As Hitman's just going to use the small contingent of Stalkers again to pressure, to annoy with Blink. And uThermal is aware that the Blink is a thing here, and he's got these 2 bunkers ready on high and low ground, ready to repair as well. And of course, this is that that same old game, time and time again in HOTS, at least. I'm sure some variant of it will be the case in Legacy as well, but where you just harass and contain with your Blink Stalkers, and then back at home, you take your third, you do double forge upgrades, you get Colossus tech, Thermal Lance, and make sure that in this small window of time where your Stalkers can buy you this time, you tech as much as you possibly can. So that's the plan here for Hitman, and of course the way to deal with that plan if you're uThermal is to try to utilize the mobility of your medevacs, do a drop if you can. If not, see if you can set up a flank. We saw him do a fantastic job on game 1 of Terraform. Remember when Hitman was just being extremely annoying with his Stalkers, and because uThermal didn't have stim, he couldn't just chase after them, so he eventually loaded up those units and dropped them on the other side of the island so you can try to sandwich Hitman. That was pretty awesome. That's, something you can do as well. Stalkers walk right into this army and they blink away. Third base now for uThermal on its way. He's floating it over there, so should be able to get that up and running very soon. For now, though, Hitman is enjoying the base lead because he is mining on 3 base longer than uThermal has. Still looking to be annoying with these Stalkers, and uThermal just not seeing it fit to push out of his base yet. Very reluctant to do so. Wants to make sure he secures his mining locations. And Hitman now just going ahead with +2 upgrades, 2-2. uThermal is upgrading only 1 at a time. So it's just, weapons first, then armor. Now would be the time to get that armory. Remember on Coda, he was late with his armory, didn't get the 2-2, and that allowed Hitman really to just crush his army, even though the numbers weren't really favoring him in that big battle. So, if uThermal, doesn't get the armory again, or feels like there's a bigger priority, could come back to haunt him a second time. He is looking to push through the map, though. And we'll see if he's going to make it a 1-prong attack, 2-prong attack. He's got 2 medevacs with his army. It's not the whole army, though. He's left a decent-sized chunk at home. We are seeing Colossus count increase here for Hitman. He's on to 3 right now. And, this time we are seeing Vikings. We're actually seeing Vikings this time around, guys. And that is going to make a big difference when we see that big mid-game engagement. Because in all the games so far, uThermal has just been, cranking out those medevacs like a machine, and he had nothing really to handle the Colossus this time around. Whew, man, look at this. This is a lot of Vikings. This is 10 Vikings, 11 Vikings actually, maybe. So, he stops on 4 to 5 medevacs. And, granted, and given that he doesn't even do that many drops, why make so many medevacs, right? I mean, start cranking out those Vikings instead, and it's going to serve him well here. And he's doing the SCV pull. SCV pull on 3 base at 18 minutes, so a slightly more economical variant, I guess, of the SCV pull all in. Let's see how well it goes. SCVs are now down. It's down to the gateway units on the front lines, but against a lot of bio, and look at this. These Colossus are falling like dominoes. That's why Vikings are great, guys, and we are seeing the rest of the charge lots and Archons fall. GG from Hitman. And uThermal will tie this up. Didn't I tell you guys Game 5 was going to happen? Yes, I did. It is the Fight Night tradition. We're going to have match points all across the board, every series. And what a better way to close out HOTS for real, right? So, Game 5 coming up. Looks like it will be on NA. Not sure how they decided who to play on NA, or to play on NA or EU first. Maybe it was a coin flip. I don't know, but either way, we'll be heading back over there. And, yeah, interesting. I mean, the SCV pool usually comes at 2 base, around 1350. You just kind of pull all your SCVs, your 150 supply army, and YOLO it, right? This is a little more late game version of it. It was like 1740. I don't know if he pulled every single SCV. He might have still had like 1 base worth of SCVs mining. I'd have to check the replay, but Hitman just wasn't ready for it. And I noticed too, Hitman, a part of the reason for this is he went for the DT Shrine, which obviously isn't tech that he used late game. So it was kind of just a sunk cost for him. It delayed his ability to get Storm. And if you don't have Storm at 17 minutes, I don't even know, honestly, if uThermal needed to pull SCVs. I think that was just honestly just salting the wound more than anything, because really he had so many Vikings. The only AoE that Hitman had was those Colossi. They were going to essentially be nullified by that many Vikings and all the bio on the ground. I guess the one thing you can say is Hitman would have 2-2. So maybe that's why the SCVs would come into play there. So perhaps those, I guess, were more necessary than I suggested. But without Storm, how can you really possibly hope to deal with that kind of a engagement? You just can't. And you know, you go with the DTs that didn't accomplish too much. It sets you back a fair amount because he kept making him too. I mean, it's not just a Dark Shrine investment, which is expensive on its own, but you make like 3, 4, I don't know how many. It might have even been 5 DTs. It's a lot of gas. So you're delaying everything. And he was still double upgrading on Forges. So he delayed essentially Colossus a bit. He delayed Templar Tech a bit. So it is what it is. It's a risk when you go for that early game, you know, DT harassment. And if it doesn't pay itself off, it will come back to bite you. All right. So game 5 is about to happen. Map is going to be Cactus Valley LE. And this is the last call, guys, for you to go ahead and show these players your support by donating directly to the prize pool. So you can visit Matcherino right now. Link will be provided for you in chat, and you enter the code Thermal Hitman. So ignore the U, it's just Thermal Hitman. You enter the code, and Matcherino will donate on your behalf money to the prize pool. So you don't have to donate anything if you don't want to, but if you want to, so much the better. And basically the winner will, you know, be the one to earn that donation. So definitely show your support and get involved in another way here in Fight Night beyond just watching and chatting. All right, so Cactus Valley LE, last game here in this series. We're spawning on the bottom right-hand side is the green Protoss player representing himself. It is Hitman. And against him, we have the purple Terran on the upper right, representing AT Gaming, fighting back from a 2-0 deficit and making this the Fight Night game that we all expected. It is uThermal. So yet another match point situation in a match on Team Gravity Fight Night. And uThermal has to be feeling good, because he has the momentum right now. Momentum is everything here. You win 2 games in a row, down from 0-2, you feel like you're invincible, because you essentially were on the ropes from very early on, and then suddenly, you know, you can just get this kind of momentum going. You got to ride that wave. And we've seen players, you know, come back with the reverse, I don't want to say all kill because this isn't a clan war, but still, you know, 3 in a row to just completely turn things around in a comeback. It can happen. And this would be that time. So uThermal going to open up here standard once again, 12-12. It is another 4-player map, so he's going to elect to do that. Scouting with his SCV in a counterclockwise fashion. Taking a look at Hitman. Right now, he is going to just stand one base for a little bit here. It's not quite time to expand anyhow. Gas saturation is going to be key here. Is it going to be fully saturated, or is it just going to be, you know, up to 4 probes? Well, I'm seeing the cybernetics core being put down now. And he could just be Mothership Core expanding once more. It all comes down to the amount of gas. Reaper on the way here for uThermal, so it's going to be a Reaper expand for him. Mothership Core, oh wait, not yet. Not yet. Cybernetics Core is still only halfway done. Chrono's going to be on the Nexus to crank out those probes. And let's see, Reaper going to pop. And, you know, you send your SCV off in the wrong direction, so you know where the right direction is. So, hey, that's always a nice thing, right? Send out that SCV, make sure you can eliminate certain options so that your Reaper doesn't have to travel as much. So he's going to get his Reaper over to the right spot, going to go ahead into the main base very shortly, I would presume, to see really not too much going on. I mean, you see the Expo, so there's not going to be a Tier 2 structure just yet. Okay, and then the Reaper will confirm that and go ahead and just make its exit. So we were probably looking at a nice macro game here for game number 5, the way it should be, as most of you would probably attest to. The funny thing, too, and the very ironic thing is that Hitman, being known for his cheesy style, his all-in style, the 2 games he went all-in and cheesy didn't work out for him. He lost them. That's games 3 and 4. And then in games 1 and 2, he played more standard to open up. He played more macro-oriented, followed the typical progressions that a Protoss will do, that is early expand, into blink, as contain and harass, into robo, so on and so forth. Whenever he followed that strategy, he did well for himself. Now, granted, there's other variables at play too, like how uThermal plays as far as his, strategy and as far as what maps are involved. But, it seems that the macro has worked better for Hitman here, and it might serve him well to just go with that once more. And we're seeing Blink right now being researched. So it looks like he is going to go follow that script here. uThermal looks like he's transitioning into tech after the expansion. So now 3 racks. It's going to be into the starport factory, of course, first. And let's see if it's going to be a Widowmine attack. Actually, I'm seeing 2 Hellions right now. So it is going to be 2 Widowmines, though. It is they are on their way right now, as uThermal will crank out a medevac as well. So the first harassment will probably come from these Hellions on the low ground. Best case scenario, no doubt, would be to force out a photon overcharge. I mean, if he can manage to do that on the low ground, that would be golden. But hey, killing probes is great too. Look at that. 3 probes killed right now. Potentially a 4th one as well. Yep, we'll get that. Gonna lose one of the Hellions. These are sacrificial Hellions to try to see if he can scout. The last second sees the Twilight Council. May have seen the chrono, maybe not. But either way, he knows it's Blink. It's a 2-base typical opener. So really, uThermal knows that it's going to be a Blink harassment once again. And he's going to follow up that first engagement with a second group of harassment units. It's going to be a couple Widowmines heading right towards the main base. Let's see how they do. They're making their way in the main base right now, dropping right in front of the Stalkers, which are focusing on the medevac. Both of them burrow. Oh, the first one of mine unloads on the Stalkers, which is actually a great thing for Hitman. The second one kills off 3 probes. So, judging by how the Widowmines were in the previous games, that's as good as it could have possibly been for Hitman. And hitting shields that regenerate, I'll take that any day as a Protoss player. So really, Hitman responding well to that. And now he's going to start putting on that Stalker pressure. So he's making his way over to the top of the map. uThermal adding on several more barracks as I speak. Conch shell completed. Again, is he gonna get stim just yet? I don't think he has, and he may just start the combat shield again. One reason I can think of for him prioritizing combat shield instead of stim is possibly because he's thinking, okay, Hitman's going Stalker heavy in the beginning. He's not like going right into Robo, which a lot of Protoss do as well. So having Marines with that 10 extra HP would be great because, Stalkers typically are pretty strong against Marines. And yeah, I kind of understand that. But I don't know. I mean, for me, Stim gives your units the ability to chase. And you're already going to have medevacs out so they can heal. So I don't know. It seems to be a preference thing here. Hasn't made a massive difference in this series so far, so I'm not really gonna, comment too much on it, but it is what it is. Actually, this time he's gonna go for Stim, so maybe he's seen the light. Stim is on the way, not combat shield. Double forge upgrades for Hitman as he is trying to, catch up in tech here, as we're gonna see both players prepare for the mid game. And Cactus Valley is a lovely map for drops. We see all those wide open spaces around the various expansions and stuff, and really, the ability to hop from the natural to the third is kind of nice too, with that one little ledge there. So, for uThermal, this is an opportunity for him to go with that medevac heavy build and actually do something with it, right? Last game, he went with the Vikings, which is great. But the previous games, he went medevac heavy, didn't really do that many drops, and then he had nothing to deal with the Colossus. Let's see what he does this time around. Too early to tell, of course. He's only making his second and third medevacs. Will be interesting, though, for sure, because looking at Hitman, it's Colossus again. Just Colossus one at a time here. Looks like so far he's got one, so this is a second one on the way. Thermal Lance is about to finish, and we'll see what uThermal decides to do as far as air. But for now, both players focused on getting their thirds up and running, and a little bit of action perhaps in the center. No, not quite. Zealot from Hitman does run away. And scouting, of course, on Cactus Valley, so important. Got to have your observers out beyond that third base, just to the left and above that main and that open area to scout for the drops. You just have to have your eye on everything. Splitting your army to deal with multi-prong drops is also big. Perhaps not against uThermal if he doesn't do any. So it's 12:30 right now. He's not necessarily forced to do a harassment just yet because he did take a third. And now he may just go ahead with the harassment. 4 medevac drop. Let's see if he loads up the 5th. Maybe not. Maybe just make this a small 2-prong attack. Small meaning the ground force is small, but the drop is a doom drop. So I would expect a decoy. But then again, Hitman, he's got the observers where he needs them to be. And he sees these 4 medevacs on the way. So uThermal is going to be met by quite a few of these stalkers, as well as a Colossus here. And uThermal scans. So that's a good scan for him. I mean, yes, as a player, you don't want to scan if you never have to, because you don't want to waste the minerals from the meal you could have dropped. But that was important because he would have lost a lot more than 270 minerals had he flown into those stalkers. Instead, he's going to actually land right behind these Colossus, try to catch them off guard. Nice time warp. Isn't nice enough, though. Second Colossus almost falls, but doesn't quite. That would have been horrible for Hitman. It still might be bad for Hitman because this third base right now is going to get taken out. And Hitman's going to be behind on bases now as uThermal is just happy with his, aggression. He's running away right now. Boy, oh boy. And Hitman here is going to try to recollect himself, rebuild that third base. Losing the 1 Colossus, obviously not a good thing, as we are seeing uThermal this time around again going with the high Viking count. It's what he should have done in the very beginning. And last game, he's like, man, this worked out really nicely. I'm going to do it again. Smart man, as he's now going to converge soon onto uThermal's bases. The third base, only halfway done here. uThermal is way ahead in supply, by the way, 190 to 141. Hitman does have an upgrade advantage. That is something he has going for him. Quality over quantity, I suppose. +2 attack and armor. uThermal only on +1. Never been great with the upgrades. I'd have to say uThermal has been behind on that almost every single game. So he has to make up for it in quantity, and he's bringing it. SCVs, guys, serving as the meat shields. Right now, these Vikings are moving in first to try to take out the Colossus. These Colossi are not really going to be serving anything more than just decorations here, as Hitman is now down to basically probes and gateway units, and that is the worst thing that can ever happen to a Protoss player. 16-12. Again, no Storm. I don't know why Hitman doesn't make Storm here. He has the Templar Archives, but to be without Storm at this time is really killing him in these last games, and is going to eventually kill him in this one too. We'll see if uThermal can continue this attack. He tried to split up his units to the third. He was able to take that out. Now he's converged everything together in this one massive bio death ball, and he is going to be able to stutter step his way through this. Let's see if these Archons can be heroes here. Not enough. GG, and uThermal has completed the comeback. Final score is 3-2, and what a finish. My. Just, I don't, the one thing too about going with the stalker harassment is you're going to delay a little bit your tech, but it's not that bad. I mean, it's not nearly as bad as going with the DTs like we saw in game 4 or whatever, but it did ultimately delay Psystorm. I feel like you could have gotten it sooner too, but to be honest, losing the third obviously is a huge problem. That definitely screwed things up for Hitman. Having that third may have, allowed for him to get the Psystorm a lot sooner. I'll give him that benefit of the doubt. But again, you just cannot face off against a Terran in that late game. And basically, this game was a repeat of game 4. So uThermal, man, That Team Gravity Fight Night comeback. That's what we're talking about. 0-2, no problem. 3 games in a row, and it's done. $25 to uThermal. I'm actually curious as to how much money was donated on Matcherino. And you guys have done fantastic. Look at that. $23 added to the prize pool, just like that. That's almost doubling the entire prize pool, guys. So again, this is a real thing, guys. Our partnership with Matcherino is all about bringing the fans together with the players to be able to support the players directly and make it so that the players have to earn it. So look at that. $23 donated. Big thanks to all of you guys who were able to enter that coupon code. And it's just that easy. All right, so that was an awesome first match. Went to game 5. We'll see what happens here in the second one. It's going to be Puck versus No Regret and an awesome PvZ. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after this short break.